2.0, we're really bringing that transparency. People know where their money's at. We joke all the time about how ridiculous it would be if you went to your bank and people said, well, these are the people who work here, but the 4 people who run the place, we don't know who they are. You don't know who they are. So deal with it. That's not an acceptable standard in any other business practice. So just that level of transparency and bringing things to both communities, I think, has been kind of what's worked so well for this. Grape Finance is very well versed in DeFi. They're very well known on the Avalanche network. Basically, everything that they've been able to accomplish is just complementing what our vision is, the ethics, the morals, just bringing the community involved in everything. So
definitely, I think I've also really worked towards that from the beginning of Grape Finances. Was before you guys really when right in the beginning there were so many strategies going around. We're a seniors protocol. How many people here know what a seniors protocol is? That's not too many, so I'll explain it a little bit. We're also a nodes protocol. How many people here know what a nodes protocol is? That's a bit more, that's good. And we're going towards lending and borrowing. How many people know about that? That's also not too much, all right? The thing is, this is actually very important, right? It tells us a lot. A lot of people just don't know what all of these protocols are. And so when I came on as a community member, actually, in Grape Finance, I started devising a strategy that will work for everyone. And not just a couple of sharks that would take the money away from everyone. But I started devising a strategy that will work even if everyone would do it, they would still take care for profits. And as such, that changed into me explaining a lot of things to the whole of the community, and that changed into me making videos on that. And that changed to me being the community manager and actually trying to explain everything to everyone, and also make a place that was a bit less toxic. Because I'm not sure if you've been in a lot of Discord servers, but a lot of them are quite toxic or have been quite toxic. And I just wanted to have a place where people would be nice to each other and would actually be able to explain what's going on instead of just, if you don't know, then GTFO, right? So that's definitely what we are going with also with Swapsicle, as they are saying, like we focus on education. So I would definitely like to echo that. And well, since a lot of people know what a senior protocol is, I'm going to explain it a little bit. A senior protocol is a protocol that prints more of its tokens when it's above a certain price, and it tries to contract its tokens when it's below a certain price. So that means that if there's more demand, more tokens will be printed. If there's less demand, it will be taken out of circulation. And we've actually done pretty all right. We've been printing about 95% of the time. So that's pretty good, I would say, especially in the bear market. And so a nodes protocol is where you just put a lot of money in a node, and then it will slowly get that money out again. I would say tokens, not money. But and that actually works together pretty well with a senior protocol, because when the tokens are low and we're not printing, you can still get nodes very cheap, and they will print even when we're printing again, and the tokens are worth more. And last thing is lending and borrowing. What we're going to do is work and have a place called Vinium. And Vinium is going to have collateral, like our interest-bearing tokens, so they're actually still becoming more and more unrealized wealth, right? And then you can use them as collateral to borrow your tokens against.
Which I think is super important as far as, you're explaining these mechanisms to people, and, maybe some people with a blank stare, they may not know exactly what it is, but it's important that, we talk about community, talk about transparency, but I think the last thing in what we would consider DeFi 2.0 is sustainability. How long are people going to be around? It may be jargon that you're not used to hearing, or it may go over your head, and that's not there's always ways to learn, but I think when you're building on things that are sustainable, that's super important. So that's one of the things that when we develop the partnership, are you doxed? We need to know who you are. We're not going to give our community a project that we're unsure about, and you're not willing to stick your neck out behind your investment and things like that. That we are setting the precedent that we're not going to accept that. So that's one of our, requirements when it comes to partnerships, that we have to know who you are. Even if you want the NDA to keep your name exclusive, but as long as we know, our legal team knows what you're all about, that's super important. So, Dale, did you want to touch a little bit about how the partnership kind of came about, what things we were looking for in partners and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. First thing to say is Grape Finance, like us, are not the first protocol to do this, right? They first sort of come about with basis cash, and they struggled. And then some of you may be familiar with Tomb Finance, who again struggled. Now, what we believe and what has been echoed on this stage is if you don't succeed with something straight away, doesn't mean you toss it aside and it's not going to work. I spend most of my time behind the screen on my own studying tokenomics, studying this stuff, and this elastic supply protocol can work. It can work. It takes continuity within the community. It takes good leaders like you've got in LB and yourself. And I really believe it worked with the right ingredients. Now, when we first approached LB and the team at Grape, they, like I said, they had $2 million, right? And we were fresh deck. We still had our training wheels on. We were like,
I don't even think we launched it.
That's what I mean. We were just getting ready.
We had been going down a little bit. We had a bit more earlier, but
Oh,
yeah, it was a bad time. It was a bad time. But you came in as heroes, man. But really.
Yeah, so you were further along the path than we were, but the nature of the team, LB was like, yeah, I'll hear you out. Like, he was on Trader Joe, and what we see was obviously Trader Joe turned their routing off, which when trading volume hits a certain point, they just turn the router off, and we see potential in Grape Finance. We'd already been in the Discord. We'd already spoke to members of the community, and we really liked it, and we wanted to support it. Also, we were a big supporter of the MIM stablecoin, the collateralized MIM stablecoin. Recently, it had its peg tested severely, and it recovered. It's one of the avenues that we wanted to go down, and being that Grape Finance were aligned with the Abracadabra team and the MIM stablecoin, enhanced our conviction. So we sat down and we said, what can we do? How can we help you? We want to help you.
Yeah, and this routing, just to explain that a little bit as well, it meant that Trader Joe made it so that you could no longer just buy your grape with AVAX, right? You just had to first manually buy MIM and then buy AVAX because Trader Joe was no longer willing to make that route for you. And then Swapsicle came in and they were like, yeah, not just that they're going to give us proper routing, but they're also just actually willing to work with us. I mean, Trader Joe had not been even, they've still been calling our tokens very untrusted and stuff like that, even though we've been going for quite a long time. And so Swapsicle had an entirely different approach. And so we were very enthusiastic about it. We wanted to actually change all of our liquidity to Swapsicle, but we have a community, right? And we don't really want to upheave everything and make it so that is very unfortunate for everyone and say, hey, you just got to move all of your liquidity to a new place. So what we did was actually use our new nodes protocol and make a node for a Grape MIM liquidity on Swapsicle. And that's exactly what I think less than a week ago, and it was about 45% of your Swapsicle tax.
Yeah, and the thing too about the partnership is when, like I said, I come from a traditional sales background where, I don't want to necessarily say that there's a winner and there's a loser, but a lot of times it feels that way in sales. I need a commission, you may or may not be this, in housing, let's put it that way. This house is right for you, and somebody feels the pressure that they want a commission. And just being in sales in the DeFi space, you see that you're truly, benefiting people on both sides. So when we developed the partnership, you had a tune for it, which is what they are. They need their liquidity on their platform as well as we wanted the TVL on our platform. So it allowed us to incentivize them with an airdrop. So basically what we did is they allow their token to be still on their platform while we airdrop them weekly. And I think you have a quick announcement to make.
Yeah,
I don't want to steal your thunder.
We're actually moving, we're moving this onward a little bit. We've been doing the node, and the node actually creates protocol and liquidity so that we have sort of a basis on Swapsicle, but we're going to take the next step right now, which is today. So in our vineyard, which actually has the investor-owned liquidity pools, we are now going to open the Grape Min. And also, as a thank you to Popsicle, the wine crops liquidity pool, just to move along with Swapsicle, because this is the road we want to go.
Absolutely.
In simple terms, what that could mean for Swapsicle is potentially, based on what's already out there, could be millions of dollars of liquidity moving through our decks and then moving into their UI. So it could, based on the community, be worth millions of dollars of liquidity.
And just to kind of wrap everything up, that announcement is awesome, but what we're going to do is complement that by I don't want to say taking away the farm that currently exists on Swapsicle, but what we're going to do is we're going to drive more adoption to Grape Finance by closing that. And currently we have a 4,000 a week pop airdrop that goes to the Grape Min LP nodes, and we're actually going to move that over to the Swapsicle LP winery, and we're going to move it from 4,000 up to 6,000 a week. So anybody who's in that pool is now going to be getting 6,000 out of the 4,000.
That's really awesome. We're very happy with that, and we're just very happy with having Swapsicle as a partner, really. Dax that actually thinks along with us instead of kind of working against us, right?
Absolutely.
This partnership is quite special for me and Brian. We worked really hard on this one, and it was obviously our first and our biggest, and it's been a real pleasure to deal with yourself and the team. So thank you.
Definitely, and also just as a quick explanation of why I'm the only one here. We're working with a team of 7 people. 3 of them are Australians and 3 of them are in the US, and I'm the only one in The Hague. So, I was kind of more able to come here and represent Grape Finance. But, as I do all of the AMAs together with our main dev, I'm kind of on top of things. So I'm all right.
Appreciate everything.
Definitely happy to be here. And, LB, main dev, and all of our team sends their regards, obviously.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, and back to you guys.